Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm LJ if you're new here. So in today's video, I'll be creating this fall makeup look. I can't believe fall is already here. Like just last month, I was like singing. I was like, no, fall is not here yet. We're still in summer. And then it's like October already. It's already halfway through October and November's almost here, and then Christmas, and then New Year's. That's crazy. Time is flying. But anyways, so today I'll be creating this fall inspired makeup look. So this is definitely my everyday fall makeup look. Of course, we're using a little bit of brown, a little bit of mauve. You know, I like a really good mauve color, and I feel like mauve ties really well with fall because, you know, it's that dark berry type of pink, and that's just like my favorite type of pink because I feel like it shows up really well on melanated skin. So I created this look. This is definitely my everyday fall makeup look. So if you're interested in seeing how I created it, keep on watching. But if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and join the LJ family because I would love to have you on the LJ fam. Hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Okay, LJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'. Welcome to a YouTube.
Alright, so today's makeup look is going to be an everyday fall inspired makeup look. So usually during summer and then when we transition into fall, like my makeup routine changes. So I use different colors than summertime. So I'm going to start off with priming my face. Of course, I'm going to be using a hydrating primer, and I'm using the one by Mercier. This is the Pure Canvas Primer. So I'm just going to apply a little bit around my cheeks. I like to mainly focus that primer on my cheek area because that area gets super dry. All right, and then I'm gonna go in with this Rare Beauty highlighter in the shade Transcend. You guys know I really like this highlighter, so I want to apply this on the areas where I want that light reflection, and I like doing this. I feel like my skin is a little bit dry and less reflective, and then I'm gonna use a beauty blender and just blend that out. And usually this highlighter works so well underneath foundation. I feel like it works better underneath foundation versus if you're putting it on top of like your whole makeup. And I'm also going to place a little bit on my forehead. All right, for foundation today, I'm going to use the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I usually like mixing two shades, so I usually mix 10 and 11.5. I can use 11.5 on its own, but most of the time I use this shade like during the summer because my skin is usually darker then. But I like to mix it because I feel like my skin right now is not really an 11.5. It's like more in a middle. And I'm not sure if they have the shade just 11 on its own. I tried finding it and I couldn't. 11.5 was like the closest match. So if you are of my skin color, I would say get 11.5. It works for me. But I just like to mix it to get like that almost like perfect shade. So I'm just placing one pump because this foundation has a pretty good coverage. And I'm gonna place this all over my skin, mainly focusing on my cheeks, on the outer portion of my face. All right, so next I'm gonna blend it out with my e.l.f. sponge. Making sure to just lightly tap on top of that highlighter so it doesn't move. Do you guys see how dry my skin is right now? I'm feeling like as soon as fall hits, like my skin just gets so dry, and I don't know what it is about the fall weather. It's usually fall and winter. Usually during the summer, it's usually mostly hydrated. So I like to place like whatever is on the sponge around my nose area. I'm gonna use the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. It's been a minute I've used this, and the shade that I usually use is Amande, which is the shade that I usually put on my eyelids to prep my eyes for eyeshadow. And then I'm also gonna mix it with the McGrath Labs Sublime Perfection Concealer. So I feel like these two concealers are very similar. I'm not sure, but I think the McGrath is a little bit more full coverage, and this one is like more so in the medium coverage. So because I'm going for a full coverage look, I wanted to add a little bit of the McGrath for that full coverage effect. And this Nars is also almost done, so I need to make sure to get me another one. But of course, I'm just applying this close to my eyes, like right here underneath my eyes, and then on the outer portion of my under eyes. And then I'm gonna place some on my forehead, a pretty good amount, down the bridge of my nose and on my chin area. And I'm gonna add a little bit of the McGrath because this one is like super full coverage. And I usually forget how much coverage it has when I usually use it. So I go in with a lot and then it's like, whoa, this is a lot. And then I'm gonna go ahead and blend it out with the e.l.f. sponge. And I remember when I used to let my concealer like dry up a little bit. I mean, I feel like it works, but you can also like not let it dry and just kind of like lightly tap onto your concealer. I feel like it gives you the same finish if you just don't completely blend it out. You just want to like slowly and lightly just tap on the concealer to blend it out. And I'm gonna use this side right here to blend out the forehead area. If you got a big forehead like me, you gotta use a bigger sponge or the bigger part of the sponge to blend it out so it's quick. And then of course, just lightly press down the bridge of the nose. We are going to be contouring the nose, so I just placed a very small amount on my nose area. And then I'm gonna place a little bit for reverse contour. And then for contour, I'm gonna use the Hourglass Vanish Concealer. This one is in the shade Anise, and this one is pretty deep, so I usually use like a few drops. I always start with my chin area because it dries up so quick, and sometimes I usually forget to blend it out, so I always like to start first with Alright, so now time to finally set the skin. So I'm going to use the Laura Mercier translucent powder. This one is the one in the shade Honey. So this one is like the golden color. Now I do still feel like this powder is a little bit too light. I feel like it's not golden enough for like melanated skin. I still feel like it can wash you out a little bit. So what I usually like doing is I like using a beauty blender, and I like applying a very like extremely small amount and just pressing it onto the skin. You can also use a brush, but I feel like with a brush it's easy to pick up a lot, and that's how it can make you look a little bit washed out. So I like just using a very small amount and building up the coverage so it's not too much. I will say that this powder is like a natural powder, so it's not like too pigmented, but as far as like the color, it's not like ideal for you to put a lot of it. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and apply bronzer, and I'm using the Huda Beauty Glowish bronzer in the shade Rich 05. And because the contour is super sharp, I don't need to place too much of this. I like this bronzer because it gives me like that red type of bronzy look to my skin. And I'm going to place some on my jawline as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. So for eyebrows, I'm literally doing the same routine that I usually do. So I usually use this Anastasia brow pen in the shade Ebony. This is micro sculpting. I don't know if to call it micro sculpting or micro blading eyebrow pen, so it looks like this. Yeah, I usually just do this and draw out my eyebrows. So I'm gonna quickly do that, clean up my eyebrows, and then I'll come back to show you guys the eyeshadow. Okay, so eyebrows are finally done. So I'm gonna move on to eyeshadow, and I'm gonna use this I'll Live You Forever eyeshadow palette by Violet Voss. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. Just has a lot of colors that I feel like is me, you know? Olive, it has the browns, it has a little bit of black. So I've used this many times on my channel, and I'm gonna be using this today to create a nice simple brown fall type of makeup look. I'm gonna start off with this first shade called Endless Desire, which is like a burnt brown shade. And of course, using the Morphe M506 brush. This is usually the brush that I like to start off with. Yeah, and I'm gonna start off with applying that shade right on my crease area. This eyeshadow palette is really pigmented, so I just have to make sure that I'm packing on lightly and blending it out. And then next shadow that I'm gonna pick up is this one right here called Charmed, which is that deep brown shade. Yeah, and I'm using that same M506 brush. I'm gonna lightly pack that right on the outer V. So this is supposed to be an easy everyday type of eyeshadow look. I don't wanna like do too much, so I'm just lightly packing that on there. And you can use a black shade if you want to deepen it. But I really like the brown in this eyeshadow palette. And then I'm gonna go back in with Endless Desire and just lightly go on top of that eyeshadow shade with that color. All right, so the next eyeshadow shade I'm gonna pick up is this right here called Infatuated. And I think I'm gonna mix that with Wishful right here. And I'm placing that right on my eyelid area. All right, so for my under eye, I'm gonna mix that shade Endless Desire with a little bit of Charmed. And And of course, placing that at the bottom. All right, so for the inner portion shade, I'm gonna use this shade right here called Wink, which is that super bright nude shade. And I'm gonna pop this on the inner portion. All right, next I'm gonna apply mascara. I've been really liking this Ilia mascara. This is the Fullest Volumizing Mascara. I really like this mascara because it gets my lashes to be like really fluffy and full. And it just makes the eyelash application process so much easier. It's not clumpy or anything. So for lashes today, I'm gonna use the Ardell Faux Mink lashes. These are super natural and I really like the lashes because they're super easy to apply and they're very everyday friendly. Alright, so for blush, I'm going to be using this Nars blush. This is in the shade Aroused. And this is like that perfect berry type of shade. And this is like my go-to fall blush. It's super rich and pigmented. So I'm placing this on the apples of my cheeks and then of course blending it upwards. Alright, so for highlighter, I'm using, of course, the Artist Couture highlighter. This is like my everyday highlighter. It is just gorgeous. Been using this for years and I feel like I always love this highlighter. Okay, last but not least for lips, I'm gonna use this Simone Beauty lip liner in the shade Time Will Tell. This lip liner is honestly so bomb. It's really rich, so it's like a super dark brown lip liner. So I forgot to put a little bit of highlighter on my nose. I'm gonna do that real quick before I forget. Okay, so last but not least we have lips, and for lips I'm gonna use this Giorgio Armani liquid lipstick. This is in the shade 212. It's like a mauve shade, so I feel like because my makeup look is like more so on the mauve side, I thought I was gonna do brown, but you know, I had to throw in a little mauve in there because that is my favorite color and hopefully it gives me what I'm looking for. Okay, I fucks with it. Okay guys, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is definitely my everyday fall makeup look because you know, mauve is my favorite color and I feel like it ties really well with fall because it's more so of a berry pink type of color. I love this look. It's super simple, super easy. And during the fall, I usually like a matte lip. I don't know the ties between matte and fall. I don't think they make sense, but I really like a really matte lip color during the fall. Like even if it's brown, even if it's like colorful, like red, I feel like matte usually goes really well during the fall. And yeah, so this is the look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. Also subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. Don't forget to check my next video over here on this soft pink makeup look. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'.